So this was a super interesting article that I saw, and I figured it'd be well worth doing a video on. As you guys know, there's been some negativity around Xbox lately, and so I figured it'd be a good time to get some of the positive stuff out there, and that's exactly what this is. I look at this and I think, hey, this is something that is very much needed, to say the least. So, again, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing more of the positive stuff come out. It just kind of depends on the day of the week, really, when it comes down to what Microsoft is doing. Anytime they do something too positive, you know that you are just hours and days away from them doing something completely asinine that that kind of slaps them down a peg or two. So we'll see how that works out. Hey everybody, I'm Crab Gamer. This is Crab Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Listen, I do daily gaming content, and so again, if you guys are looking for something like that, you found it. I try to be fun yet informative. So there is that. I don't want to be too over negative about things. For me anyway, I'm just kind of looking at things and taking it a day at a time as an Xbox fan. So if you guys are Xbox fan, we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. As you guys know, there was some negative stuff around what was going on with some updates in the with the Xbox earlier in the year, unfortunately, and now we have a better idea of some things that are kind of turning around in terms of an update that's doing things for good. Like there was the update for early insiders or whatever that was not a good thing. Now we have one that's making it easier to free up some storage space, which is always welcome. Xbox Insiders have a new update that makes it easier to free up storage space on an Xbox console. Insiders in the alpha and skip ahead rings can now test out the new feature, which will be rolling out soon to new users. And I gotta tell you, a lot of people always talk up, for a long time I always would hear people talk about like, oh man, I love playing on Steam because, things are so cheap, blah, blah, blah. To me, things on PlayStation and Xbox, at least digitally, are extremely cheap too. So I don't really look at it and go, oh man, they're really kind of screwed or whatever if they don't have this, or this, because the games are so cheap. And a good example of this, right? And I usually try to buy physical when I can, just because I like physical media. But what happens to me anyway is I'll try and buy, like I bought RoboCop, which was a phenomenal game, and I bought that on Xbox when it came out. Played through it, loved it, because obviously I grew up in the 80s, and that RoboCop was awesome. And and I'll do this sometimes with games. When the game, it was recently $8 on PlayStation for the PS5 version, so I picked that up too digitally. Like you can't really go wrong with this stuff, And so again, it's just like a very interesting situation where we have these things kind of come up, and and it's good news. That's how I look at it anyway. So here's what we got going on. Alpha and skip ahead insiders can download a new Xbox update that adds quote unquote improved way to free up storage space. When using the free up space feature, Xbox will now offer recommendations to remove duplicate games or games it no longer have access to. The improvement should really eventually make their way to all Xbox insiders. According to Microsoft, the update introduces a new and improved way to free up much-needed storage space when you're running low. Rather than simply displaying leftover add-ons and shrinkable games, we will now also include recommendations like moving duplicate copies of games you no longer have access to. You can check it out heading to My Games and Apps, manage free up space. While it's somewhat a small improvement, it's definitely a welcome one, especially if you're like me and you somehow manage to create duplicate copies of games and DLC packs across different storage drives. Which, again, sometimes this often happens. Like for me, I'll, because I keep so many games installed, sometimes I'll have a duplicate game or something. I'm very much into the habit of never deleting things because I'm just so used to it taking so long to download games. But for sure, I'll delete like older sports games and stuff. Like if I have, 5 different Maddens for the past 5 years, I only keep the newest one. So, I try to keep it, a little bit favorable That way, I guess, would be the best way to put it. But for me, anyway, yeah, that's a godsend, like, because I get so many games. The update is currently available only to insiders. It won't be long until it filters down to all Xbox users, who can probably expect it in one of the upcoming Xbox monthly updates. With this change, you should hopefully be able to keep on top of your storage space and free up some room for your best Xbox games or Game Pass or whatever. So yeah, thought that was pretty cool and definitely well worth doing a video on at the end of the day. Again, we always see these types of announcements and things that come about, and sometimes they're just stuff that don't make any sense. And I'm glad that we're starting to see that we're getting some updates that do actually make some sense. That really kind of makes it kind of worthwhile, or whatever the case may be. How do you guys feel about this kind of stuff, though? It's like I said, it's really one of those interesting situations, and I'm sure a lot of people probably have an opinion on this, or two, or three even. So you know what I mean? Like, hey, in today's day and age, everything is just huge numbers of of games, and again, it's just one of those things, where it just makes sense to be able to kind of do all these different things that can, they can kind of change how we do things. So you know what? Like, I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are as well. At the end of the day, it really kind of comes down to what you guys are interested in, and if that's something you guys can kind of get into or whatever. Like, again, I think this is a big win for everybody, because no matter what you have in terms of gaming or whatever, it really just kind of depends on you all. It really kind of depends on you all. Like, hey, what do we have for gamers that can really kind of improve what's going on? Well, there you are, and hopefully that helps. So, again, I think that it really kind of depends on what type of gamer you are. For me, anyway, I think that it is one of those things where gamers are going to have a different opinions on things, but we can all maybe agree on on this. It's a good thing. So more storage space, and I think is really just one of those things that kind of happens or whatever. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. How do you guys feel about this? How much space do you have left? Like, that's something I always ask people, when it comes down to, what type of games they have, or how many games they have and things like that on their platform. I always just say, hey, how much space do you have? Is like, what do? Do you delete games? Like, to me, it depends. If it's a game that maybe I'm never going to ever go back to and I've already beat it, yeah, I probably will, not check it out. I probably won't, I probably won't play it again or whatever. I'll probably delete it. But, at the same point in time, we'll have to see if that's something that everybody does. Maybe I'm alone in this. I don't really know. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, so many people choose to do things in a different way nowadays than back in my day. It's just like, I like to have the games out there, just because it's one of those things where so many people. It's just a weird situation for me, where I don't like to re-download my games, and that's like just the God's honest truth. I hate having to go out there and I like this game, well, let me go re-download it, because that makes sense, right? So yeah, like, you guys kind of probably have an idea about what I'm talking about. What a pain in the ass it is, especially if you have if you guys have any type of situation where you have a lot of games, like, and I think Game Pass kind of doesn't help in that situation either, where there's so much going on and things like that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this. Let me know down below. Are you guys interested in more storage space? If you are, how much storage are you currently rocking on your Series S or X? Yeah, I like to hear these things. I know I guess I'm weird like that. I have two specifically built ones. I have the 2 terabyte and the 1 terabyte for my Series X. I also have 16 terabytes of USB 3 expansions that I keep Xbox One, Xbox, and Xbox 360 games on. So anyway, thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.